Hey guys, it's Inferno Zach here, and I'm just gonna do a quick day after post-race reaction to the Atlanta race. So, here we go. I had notes down, and then something just came to my attention that caused me to scrap the whole first thing that I was gonna talk about. So, first thing that I was gonna talk about was Brad Keselowski winning with the flu. That's pretty sick, but instead I'm going to talk about the guy that finished second. Oh my god, Martin Truex Jr. and Ricky Stenhouse are now in a feud. Truex was unhappy because in the closing laps, Stenhouse would not give him a lane. He was mad because Ricky Stenhouse was on the bottom lane and he won. And Truex wanted the bottom lane, and he wanted Stenhouse to move out of his way, which the 17 event he did. It wasn't right away. It took a couple laps, but he eventually did move out of the way. And Truex barely lost to Brad Keselowski. It was seriously close. He would have had him in two more laps. And Truex, after the race, comes out and says, "Yeah, screw Stenhouse. Stenhouse is the reason I lost. I would have beaten Keselowski if it wasn't for Stenhouse." Well, he didn't mention Stenhouse, but he said lap traffic, and anyone with half a brain knew he was talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, if you follow me on Amino, you know I am not a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fan. But in this case, Stenhouse is 100% in the right. Truex, you are such a whiner. It's ridiculous how much of a whiner you are. I mean, goddamn. Stenhouse was supposed to move up? Why was Stenhouse supposed to move up a lane for you when you're 10 car lengths back? You're a full second behind him and telling him to change his line for you. Come on. I know these cars are aero-sensitive or whatever, but it doesn't matter. He's a lap down. You should get to his bumper before thinking about wanting to pass him. Jeez, come on. Your bottom is just taking the bottom when I want the bottom. And I've been running on the bottom all day. Yeah, so has pretty much everyone else. So is Kevin Harvick. So is Alex Bowman. So is Kyle Larson. So is Eric Almirola and Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. Literally everyone is running that line. So you can't run any other line but the very bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. What is he supposed to do? Yeah, he's not racing anyone. His position's pretty much set. But you're nowhere near him. You're not affecting the aero on his car. Why should he be like, oh wow, Truex is on my bumper. I should get out of the way. Because you're not on his bumper. You're a full second behind him. God damn, every time you finish second, it's another whine. The Roval, you almost had it won. Apparently, but Jimmy Johnson then took you out on an honest mistake, and that was apparently worthy of retaliation. Jesus, and then he's whining after Martinsville, that Joey Logano isn't gonna win the damn war, and then to everyone's total chagrin, does absolutely nothing to Logano. Like, if you're gonna whine, at least retaliate in the race and take the championship away from Logano. But he couldn't because he's a wimp. And now this. Truex, shut up. You're a crybaby, and it's no wonder you ended up at Gibbs. You fit perfectly with the other idiots. Seriously, Jones is the only likable one there. Alright, so let's move on to the debut of a portion of the 2019 package, which is the most important part, arguably, I think, which is the tapered spacer, the 550 horsepower. It was good. It was a really good race. I'd say it was better than Daytona, actually. I know you guys are probably like, What? How is Atlanta better than Daytona? It was a better race. First of all, there was no giant wreck. There weren't 3 giant wrecks in the last 10 laps that caused the last 10 laps to drag on forever. I actually fell asleep before the first overtime. And secondly, it's like there was a lot of passing. There was a lot of passing going on. For second through 20th changed a lot. Chase Elliott was as high as a 7th. It was as high as like 7th, and then he would drop back to 21st, and then he'd come all the way back to 10th, and then he'd go back to 18th. He finally settled in like 21st, I believe. It was a bad showing by Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney would be stuck in the middle of the race, and then all of a sudden he could flip a switch and he's in the top 5. Kyle Busch starts in the back of the field. By lap 35, the competition caution, he's in the top 10. Kyle Busch passed 110 cars. And then, of course, the battle for the lead. Harvick versus Larson. Hell yeah, that was a good battle. Yeah, love that. Loved how Larson just lulled Harvick to sleep by running the top in 3 and 4, which Harvick knew sucked. So he kind of just backed off, and then Larson just kind of ripped around him. It was epic. And then before that, Larson just right in Harvick's tire tracks nails 3 and 4, which has been Harvick's thing this whole time, and just rips by him. And Harvick's like, "What?" Harvick's like, I don't know what the hell just happened. I just got out Harvicked by some kid that likes the outside line. Like, damn. And then Kyle Larson led 143 laps and, of course, sped on pit road. And then Harvick got a bunch of damage, so he was basically done from the race. But for the first 250 laps or so, that was the shit. That was awesome. I mean, if that were Kansas or something, Larson would have probably won that race. But anyway, let's move on to the Rookie of the Year battle, which is looking pretty good. I mean, honestly, at first I thought I wouldn't care. I thought I would never hear the mention of Ryan Preece or Daniel Hemrick. I thought if they were mentioned, it would be like, oh my god, that car's got a star on it, or ooh, that's the new Caterpillar car. Oh yeah, that still sucks. Yeah, whatever. But no, they were good. Daniel Hemrick in the Alsco car, which is pretty sharp looking. I love the green and the white. And then Ryan Preece in that Stars and Stripes Kroger car, which is absolutely epic. I just got that on NR 2003. It's awesome looking. It's just an awesome looking car. Now someone help me find the Stenhouse Sunny D Mustang. But yeah, they looked really, really good. I mean, for most of the race, they were about mid-pack. Well, not mid-pack. They were running really well. They were running like between 11th and 20th. So they were running top 20, and by the second half of the race, they were both in the top 15. And they're looking really, really, really solid. Ryan Preece ended up 9th before BJ McLeod took him out. I could take a giant shit on Rick Ware Racing, but I don't feel like it. And then Daniel Hemrick was 4th before a right front tire started to come apart. Had to pit, ruined both of their days. Hemrick ended up, I believe, 20th, and Preece ended up 35th. So overall, that sucked for both of them. But this could be a fun Rookie of the Year battle to follow if they both keep up this performance. I mean, today they both look like chase contenders. They both look like they belonged in the chase. Playoffs. Who cares? Freaking playoffs. Just go back to the chase. I'm going to call it the chase because I want to. They both look like chase contenders. They both look like cars that not only could get into the chase but could advance. And it's like Hemrick was really strong, and it was crazy. I mean, Priest was kind of like, okay, maybe we should have, maybe this was something like we should have expected, because they went, JTG Daugherty Racing is now on Hendrick engines, so they should be a lot faster than they used to be. Plus, Chris Buescher was always outrunning the 47. So the 37, Buescher finished 9th, I believe. So the 37 was at all points faster than the 47. So I guess it was kind of expected that Priest should run closer to the front. But Daniel Hemrick, I mean, Austin Dillon sucked today. And then you compare that to Hemrick, who ran top 5 and was catching Kurt Busch before his tire came apart. And Busch, who finished 3rd in the race. I mean, that number 8 RCR car, that car might be getting in a good turnaround with Hemrick. That car was looking fine. So this could be a really good race. Personally, right now, I believe Priest is leading the standings. And I think Priest should be the favorite to win just because he's got the better engines. And Hemrick has ECR engines, which are good enough to win races, but we've seen enough out of Austin Dillon the last few years to know. Oh, excuse me. That ECR engines aren't that good. And I mean, we could say, well, it's Austin Dillon. He has no talent. He only won the Daytona 500 because you wrecked Eric. Yeah, Ryan Newman, who once won 8 races in a season, couldn't do anything with RCR. One race in 4 years with RCR. Like, okay, yeah, they suck. But Hemrick could be turning that thing around. And it could be fun to watch RCR turnaround compete against Hendrick Power. Speaking of Hendrick Power, let's go to the Bowman corner. This is where we Alex Bowman fans hang out. And, yeah, there's not too many of you. So let me just get to the point. So Bowman ran 12th most of the race and finished 15th. Yeah, I think it's the first time in his career he's finished exactly 15th. Not like his first ever career top 15. His first ever finish of 15th. So he's one step closer to the all 40 challenge. We're just finishing in all 40 running positions. He still has a win. He still has a second place. I believe he still has to finish 5th. And he has to finish, and I believe he has to finish 40th too to complete it. I hope he never completes it by finishing 40th. But, yeah, Hendrick just did not look good. Like, at all. And it's clearly not the engines, because both JTG Daugherty and Chip Ganassi Racing, they ran up front all day. Larson led 143 laps. Kurt Busch finished 3rd. Chris Buescher finished 9th, and Ryan Priest was going to finish top 10 before he got wrecked. So, it's clearly not speed that's the issue. I think they just missed their setups completely, because Jimmy Johnson ran 24th. I believe he was the whole race talking about being plowing tight. Just monstrously tight. I think what must have happened was the Hendrick cars just did not set up their cars correctly. They took a wild swing at the cars, thinking that the track was going to go one way. It went in a different direction, and they could not make the cars work. I feel like they were kind of they must have been anticipating that there was going to be rain. I feel like the Hendrick cars were kind of must have been setting up for rain and for the race to be a night race, because how do you miss the mark that badly? Yeah, with cars that were clearly fast. So I don't know what was going on there. Good news for them. Atlanta is a freak among the tracks. Las Vegas coming up is going to have a ton of grip. Handling is going to come into play, but not nearly as much as at Atlanta. The Hendrick cars clearly have speed. I would expect Bowman to run top 10 at least. Elliott and Johnson will probably each run top 5. And William Byron will hopefully William Byron doesn't suck. He finished 16th, so he didn't suck here. But we'll see. Now, for lastly, I want to talk about Kyle Larson. Led 143 laps, sped down pit road. Yet another guy wins a race he should have won. Now Now you could say I could take a shit on Larson. But I'm feeling generous. Plus, I shit myself out when with Truex. So I'm gonna give you guys some reasons for optimism with Kyle Larson. He led 143 laps today. Okay, he made he looked like Kevin Harvick at Kevin Harvick's track, and Kevin Harvick was in this race. He finished 4th. Kyle Larson was clearly better than Harvick. At least on the short run. Long run, when the longs got really long, it looked like Harvick was better on like really worn tires. But on short to medium runs, Larson was much better than Harvick, especially the medium runs. And you know what? He got a speeding penalty that cost him this time. You know how many speeding penalties he got all of 2018? 1. He got 1 speeding penalty. This is not a team that shoots itself in the foot all the time. I'm like Denny Hamlin's team does. This is a team that just doesn't get good luck for one reason or another. So, for Kyle Larson fans, don't be too pessimistic. Don't start calling him Kyle the Choker Larson. If he maintains the speed he has this year, he'll win 3 races at least easy. I personally have him down for 5 wins this year. So we'll see what happens. And until next time, I'll see you later.